Hello, my fellow nerds, and thanks again for watching another episode of Nerdboy Gaming. I am Nerdboy81. Well, Aberration is out. And with it came a whole host of features from Bob's Tall Tales 2 to patches and bug fixes. And so in this video, I thought I would take a look at one very particular note, frame interpolation, which don't ask me to explain what that is. I don't. It promises to boost performance approximately 80% across all platforms. Now, I planned this video, I put it all together, and then I noted something on Discord that says that maybe it wasn't actually there. So take this for what it's worth. It's all clear as mud as far as whether or not this actually was part of the update or wasn't part of the update. I'm thinking it wasn't based on the results, but let's just take the look at this then of what this gameplay is like for Aberration and the island after the update that was supposed to have 80% performance enhancement, and hope that maybe there is still something to come, because I don't see it. And maybe it's something in my side. I don't know. But anyway, let's dive in. So I figured I would start with the island. The island is the last map I played. I've been playing it on ASE recently, rebuilding Krug's army to go after the bosses to finally finish the island on ASE. I've also played it probably most recently on ASA, so I'm most familiar with the island. So I booted in, logged in, and I didn't notice anything. The water looked the same, the clouds looked the same. I was really hoping that this boost in performance would help with some of those basic things, the issues I was having. But then I thought about it, and those would be maybe more graphical, and maybe that's what's going to be coming with the Unreal Engine upgrade coming out in October, November timeframe. So, okay, fair enough. But let's talk about actual performance. So I got on my flyer and I flew around the island a little bit, and nothing really looked different to me. In fact, I did notice that the draw distance seemed really short, and there was a ton of pop-in. As I was walking, you could actually see foliage popping on the ground as you would walk. It would like pop in. That didn't happen before. In fact, I had to go back to my old playthroughs of ASA just to confirm that I just had never seen it and that this was something that had been happening the whole time. And the pop-in was not there like it is now. Now, I get pop-in. I get when you're flying to your base, and it pops in, whether it be on ASE or ASA. I'm okay with pop-in. I get it. It has to be there. But for it to pop in at your feet is very I think just poorly optimized. So clearly this performance update, I guess maybe isn't there, but bear with me as we go through this. So the island looks the same. The pop-in was there. There's still floating rocks, still smudgy skies, and the water still has that very special sparkle in it. The lights, the rendering of the water or the shadows leaves little black squares, and that's what causes it to look, in my opinion, not very good. Now, I do want to note, I am playing on console. This is an Xbox Series X I'm running on. And I understand that I could go get a high-end PC, a 4070, and probably not have these issues. However, my chief complaint is that this game is not optimized for console, which it is available on, and that there are many games that run significantly better on console, that look better, that also run really well on PC. So I know I'm just a pleb running on console. I'm good with that. I wish I could go get a high-end computer and see this game the way it should be played, but unfortunately I can't. But I still feel like there's just a miss in optimization for this game when it comes to ASA. It just doesn't have the look that I really would like. And I think part of my frustration with the game is that I feel like it could have it, that it should have it, that it is very likely could have this really pretty graphics, this somewhat realism, textures in the rocks that could be really nice. And it's there. There are moments on the island, even after yesterday's update, where it looks so good. But then there's times where it doesn't. Again, as I was recording all of this, I hadn't seen this message on Discord. that we're currently in the process of making some implementation changes to NVIDIA FG as tweaks were necessary after integrating AMD frame interpolation. We opted for AMD implementation with this release as it's supported on all hardware, including consoles. We're looking to restore NVIDIA frame gen ASAP. Where is AMD FSR 3.1 upscaler? In AMD FSR 3.1, AMD decoupled the upscaler from the frame interpolation. This allowed us to implement the frame interpolation while we work on FSR. Technically, you could enable it with some console commands, but there are some visual issues we need to resolve, which is why we haven't completely enabled it in the game. Taking that note, but then also looking at the patch notes, which the patch notes said enabled AMD Fidelity FX frame interpolation on all platforms across all hardwares, boosting performance approximately up to 80% on consoles and PCs that didn't already have frame gen enabled. Now I go back and I look at the island, look at my experience. There has definitely been no boost in performance, and certainly not 80%. In fact, I'm being critical here. I think it looks worse. And it's only because of that pop-in that's happening at the feet of the characters. Now, I didn't think it would be fair to not also look at Aberration, so I jumped into Aberration, loaded it up, created a new character, kind of fast-forwarded through the cutscene, the intro, because I'm trying to avoid spoilers, so I want to get to Aberration on my own and experience that at some point. And so I logged in, and what I figured I would do is just run around. I just wanted to look at the map. One, how did it look with this update? How did the performance update look? How did the whole piece come together? And so I ran around, and again, before I get into this too far, I did play with all my settings, right? So in fact, I did it on both the island and in Aberration. I turned stuff on, I turned stuff off. It's console. There's such limited options anyway when it comes to in-game settings that you can change, which is one of the benefits of console, is that it's already optimized for the console experience. It's all the same hardware, so you don't have to have high, low, high, extreme, epic, medium, low graphic settings. It's all there. It's already optimized for that hardware. That's one of the benefits of console, is that whenever you get a game, it's optimized to run the best on that console because it's all exactly the same hardware versus PC, which has so many different parts and components that you have to optimize the game towards. Anyway, that being said, I did spend a lot of times. I rebooted, I changed, I would reboot, I restarted the game, I closed the game, I opened the game, I tried it in so many different ways. So I'm confident to say that what I show here in a little bit is not a relation to settings on the Xbox console. Now, if I'm wrong, tell me in the comments. I want this to work. Trust me, I want to enjoy ASA. I want to play it. But right now, it's just not playable in my opinion. Let me rephrase. It's playable, but it's not as good as it could be. And I think sometimes simpler ASE graphics look better that just make it more enjoyable. That's my hot take. But going back to Aberration, so I loaded the game and I walked around. There's a couple moments I can remember. There's a couple things that caught my attention. There's an area where I'm standing up on bridge, whatever I'm standing on, looking down, and you could actually see the black boxes rendering out there. It was not rendering the screen very well. And at first I was having some audio issues because I just messed with settings. So I thought maybe it had to do with the setting change. And so I rebooted and did it again and got the exact same results. You could actually see the polygons not rendering fast enough and creating black boxes, little ones, in the shadows. And that, I think, is what is a big effect of the lighting not working right, is the reflections, the light, and some of the advancements of Unreal Engine not optimized correctly for this game. That's my opinion. Again, I'm not a developer. I am just a guy who's playing this game, trying to figure out why the game doesn't run as well on Xbox as I see other games that ran on later generations that looked better. Red Dead Redemption. I've used that one a lot. No Man's Sky, Baldur's Gate, all those run on my Xbox Series X. They look amazing. They don't have these issues. And they're not running Unreal Engine in all of them. And in any of those, I don't believe, but they're certainly it's just not optimized correctly. Anyway, the water I thought looked okay in Aberration. The waterfall, I don't know. Maybe that's the way it's supposed to look. It looked okay, I guess. Wasn't phenomenal by any means. I did like the lily pads. Those were a nice little touch to Aberration. The creatures, although there was a bajillion of those camel dudes or whatever you guys call them, pesosaurs or whatever they're actually called. They were everywhere in my version that I loaded in. And the water looked okay, but there was a couple of things that really bothered me. And again, I'm not talking about the map. I don't know anything about the map. Aberration may be the greatest map, and Ark of all time may be the worst. That's an opinion. You guys can tell me below what you think. But the rocks lacked texture. And I felt like when you look at the island and you look at the rocks, and then you look at Aberration and you look at the rocks, there's a clear, definitive difference in the texture in those rocks. And I think that, again, just goes back to a poorly optimized game. Maybe they tried to get this map out a little early. Maybe the deadline caught them a little faster than they expected. Not sure. It definitely, I mean, we had some delays yesterday, but there's definitely was just not as clean and sharp of edges on the rocks like we're used to seeing in both Scorched Earth, the center, and the island. Additionally, the foliage. The foliage was a problem for me. I felt like I couldn't see anything. I couldn't go from point A to point B without having to try to jump on a rock to see what was around me. And because of that, I fell into a hole in the map, a crevasse or something, got completely stuck and just was like, well, I guess that's good enough for now. Couldn't see the things around me. I didn't know what was happening. I honestly felt like I spent most of the game running through foliage. And there's a graphic when you're running through the foliage that doesn't look that great to me. And I purposely during character creation made my character tall to try to sit above the foliage because I know it was an issue in the island as well. I just feel like the foliage is big and there's a lot of it. Goes back to maybe the issue I had in my last video when I talked about scaling. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's supposed to be that way. I don't know. I never played Aberration on ASE, so I actually booted that up just to get a look at it. And they're different. There's no doubt at moments ASA looks beautiful. There's times when I looked up into the canopy and it looked beautiful. I was like, this is amazing. I wish the whole game looked like this all the time. And if it did, this video would be completely different. I'd be talking about how amazing it is and how excited I am. And instead, I'm talking about how there's no sharpness to the rocks and they all look muddied. And maybe that's the point. I don't know. Maybe there's something I'm missing in the lore or story that would explain why the rocks look muddied and blurry around the edges. But I will say in Aberration, the pop-in wasn't as bad. That it wasn't happening as you walked. There was a few stuttery moments here and there, but it was okay. But when you played on ASE, there was one thing I did notice in ASE. There was a lot of bad creatures in ASE. Like when I loaded Aberration on ASE, everywhere I went, it looked like there was either a scorpion or a raptor, a spino, a crab dude, whatever, piranha. There was always something there. I didn't see any of that on ASA, and that might be because all I could see was foliage. Maybe it was there and I didn't notice it, but in ASE, you could clearly see it. You could see on the aberrated, I think that's what they're called. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. You can see some of the creatures have kind of shiny lights on, in their coloring, which looked really cool and was kind of fun to see in the evening. I didn't really see a lot of that in ASA. So at the end of the day, going back to the original point of this video, was not to talk about the Aberration map, which I don't know anything about, but rather talk about the performance, the graphics. Did this update move the needle for ASA? And for me, humbly, I'm going to say no. However, I believe there's still a lot of hope. Number one, there was the post on Discord that came, after the launch, which essentially said may not have implemented what we thought they were implementing, that says they implemented it on the patch notes. So not 100%, it's clear as mud on whether or not it's there or not. And then hope number two is that there's a big update coming to Unreal Engine that is going to come October, November, that hopefully gets the optimization of this game in a better place. I want to really play ASA. I really do. But I have, like I said in my last video, ASE is a simpler graphics. It runs better on the Xbox. It's clean. Now, there's still crashes on ASE, don't get me wrong, and there's still bugs and things that happen, but just general graphics, they are clean, they're simple, and they work, and it looks good. ASA, it's like when you play a game on a computer and the computer can't render it or run it because you're not running a high enough graphics card, and it just doesn't look good. The game is still fun. It's still ASA. It still has all the quality of life features. It still has multiplayer. And if you're playing with those high-end settings, you're probably really loving it. And so at the end of the day, I have a feeling that this video, just like most of them, are going to be split into two camps. There's going to be those who, like me, are struggling with the graphics. It doesn't look as good. It's not running on console as well as you'd like. And then there's going to be the ones who already liked ASA, who have been really enjoying it. Maybe they figured out something I don't know about their settings that have been enjoying it, or maybe they just are okay with it, that are going to say it's great. And you're going to be excited for Aberration, which is amazing. Until that graphical update or until that patch comes and we really see the growth of the game where you can really look out into the water, into the ocean, and not see the little black boxes, or the edges of rocks aren't smudged, and you can run through foliage without having to do a command to make it smaller, it's going to be a challenge, I think, I'll say for me and maybe a large portion of the game fans to really get into it and enjoy it. I know PS5 had a really bad launch. I think the updates are there. I've read a lot of people complaining that the PS5 is even worse. I've seen on Twitter and Discord and other places that console has really struggled. And then I've seen the people who have really good rigs who are absolutely saying this game runs smooth. It's beautiful. It's amazing. I will just say, unfortunately, Xbox Series X, it doesn't run that way. It's not that smooth. I mean, the game runs well, but it's just not. It just has some issues, and it's too bad because I really want it to look like it could. What I see when I watch other people who have these high-end rigs run it, I want it to look like that, or at least I don't want the black boxes flickering in front of my eyes as I play. I want I'm okay if you scale down the foliage for console so that we can have a better experience. I don't like it when I'm walking and the plants are popping in around me, or the ground foliage is popping in, or when you look at the sky and it's smudged. I'm not even going to get into the sky in the island, the moon. You guys destroyed it. I'm not going to go there. But anyway, guys, that's my thoughts on I don't know if there's a performance upgrade. It doesn't look like it. If there is, it didn't work. It's not helping. If there wasn't, good. Hopefully it comes soon, and then that way I can make another video going, yay, it's amazing now. I hope so. Or in October, November, when the new engine comes, I'm hopeful that solves the console issues with rendering this game and playing it at the level we want it at that I wanted it. I won't even speak for other people, that I wanted it at for console. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you're new here and you haven't done so, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you liked the video, throw up the thumbs, and of course, leave a comment below. Am I crazy? Is it me? Am I doing something wrong? Is my console broken or something? Because I've showed the examples during the video. There's a lot of little things that are just gnawing at me. But either way, leave a comment, hit subscribe, put up those thumbs. I'm currently working on a new series for ASA or ASE. I went back to the island. Krug's adventures will continue. I'm going to be playing large portions of the game, cutting it down, and then uploading those in smaller parts. So that's to come. I'm also working on a Minecraft video. That'll be coming. And then I've been playing Baldur's Gate, so that'll be coming. So still a lot of content yet to come. Love to hear from you guys. Leave comments below. Subscribe, like. Let me know what you think. Am I crazy? Or is this just the way it is? Anyway, guys, until next time, have a great day.